double.
Because in order to get that out there, DJ finished. That tree grows 20 feet since the last time I stuck an antenna out in that direction, so I'd have it. Well, it's going to be a little bit of a dog leg. It'll go 40 feet out one end, pretty good, and then it's going to probably turn. The long end is probably going to turn. Let's see, maybe 20, 25 degrees, something like that. But that'll probably work just fine. Anyway, we got any more check-ins? I'm not sure if I got the list right here. I'm a little confused on the list. I think I don't have it right. So turn it over to the next guy. I'll be listening here. So let's see. JIB was in there. Little green light. Is he up next? I'm not sure. Bob, take it.
Yeah, go ahead, Skip, and then turn it over to Kevin, WA6JKN. Go ahead, Skip.
Okay, thank you very much, and belated Merry Christmas to all. That's the second day of Christmas anyway. K6LGL, Skip in Santa Monica. I'm on my 902 DM there. I had a very nice Christmas celebration at the Oxnard Marina where my relatives met. We had several generations there represented there, and me and my younger sister there, and a few others. So we celebrated very nice. Had a very nice Christmas sort of late luncheon. All right. Hope everybody else, wish everybody continued success as we end the year and start a new one soon. So, over to you there, Kevin, W6JKN, K6 Little Green Light.
Kevin and Gilroy. Yeah, good signals by everyone there. Well, interesting question. I know it's not a formal, night, question of the evening night, but I think your question is really a good one. What was the greatest thing you accomplished in ham radio during the past year? 2023. Well, I'm going to take a little different spin on that because I look at it differently, because I did have a concern, and that was which solid state amplifier should I buy? And so there was a lot of parameters that I used. It had to contain a large heat sink. It had to have the least amount of fans. It had to have good testimonials on various websites. And I wanted to hear from actual users. How's it going? How's it playing? So anyway, I down selected from that criteria, and I picked up the Mercury Lux. But the quest for getting the best amplifier did not end there. I started to prove out the claims made by the manufacturer, KM3KM. I watched some of his videos, and I read his manual, and this, that, and the other. So I came up with a test plan. The test plan was to test all of these parameters that they claim that the amplifier could survive. And being somebody who has dealt with, in a 4.5 dB above maximum predicted environment for many, many years, utilizing the best, shake, rattle, and roll equipment, because both of our systems had to survive the most rugged and critical environments, like in space. So I started seeing what I can do within 1 year, what tests I can perform against the new Mercury Lux amplifier to destroy it. See if I can burn it up. See if it lives to all the claims that the manufacturer has made, and also the testimonials from the users. So I'm just going to throw out a couple of things that I did to test the amplifier. One of the first things that the manufacturer claimed for the LD MOS device used in this amplifier was to run it at full power. Each LD MOS is rated at, I think it was like 1,400 watts. So I just went ahead and drove the amplifier to its max, and I think I had up around 2,000, a little over 2,000 watts. And then I immediately introduced a short. The amplifier survived. Now the manufacturer did it at 1,500 watts. And of course, you know, the amplifier survived that. Then I went ahead and did the same thing again with an open infinity, infinity SWR, 10 to 1 or whatever you want to call it, or greater. It survived. Then my most favorite one was keying down the amplifier. You can't even hear the fan. I keyed it down and I walked away. I didn't want to see it smoke. I didn't even want to see it. I just walked away, came back about 30 minutes later, and the amplifier is still sitting there. Turned off, not turned off, but not transmitting. It just sitting there and said, nice try, but I'm not going to let you do it. So those are the kinds of accomplishments that I made this year, was I finally reached a point where I from a professional judgment, declared the Mercury amplifier, in my professional judgment, as probably the best for its money dual MOSFET, full legal limit amplifier on the market. So that's basically how I went about making those claims, because I had to prove it to myself. So if you try any of the things that I mentioned, hey, you're on your own. Because I have no control of the manufacturing department, I have no control of the engineering department, or parts obsolescence, swapping out stuff, who knows. But anyway, I had fun doing it, and I was amazed. Okay, let's get it over to Paul. K2LMQ, beautiful signal tonight, and the group, WA6JKN.
W6YEC.
Okay, George.
Okay, George.
Go ahead and make one, and then I'll take it. Good evening, W6YEC, K2LMQ.
Hi, Paul. Yeah, just go ahead. I was just checking in. However, the nut's being run tonight. I'll just take my turn when it comes. Go ahead. Want to hear from you.
Okay. All right. Good. This is Paul and Kingman. And a great copy tonight. Everything is solid here, and that's very, very nice. The noise level's gone down a little and so on. Couple of comments tonight. A couple of you guys are on the FT101Es, and I wanted to tell you I had a sort of a funny story, but I bought one at the not Flagstaff, but the other Hamfest that replaced it over there. I bought one, and you can't tell with those things if they've been used on 11 meters or what's been done to them or what have you. However, I used it quite well for a long time. It loaded on all bands. And then one day I was talking on it on 40, I think, and all of a sudden smoke started coming out of the bottom. So I shut that down, and I'm still going to have a look at it, but it was, it kept running, but, or they would say it's a running and a smoking or whatever, but I shut it down, and I'll have to see what decided to toast, and that was that. And congratulations to Bob and Kevin and somebody else on here who I forgot to write down with their accomplishments for 2023. And Bob, that's wonderful, and you did that for all of Hamdom, and it'll make a big difference for guys who are very space limited, and that's wonderful. And let's see, that's good. And Vaughn, I'm looking back through my log. We haven't spoken in a long time, but I haven't I have your QTH in there, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, good to hear everybody, and let's see. I will give it to our George and see what's cooking with him. So W6YEC, and then from you it goes to Bob, AK6R. W6YEC. Glad you're on board. K2LMQ.
Okay, very good, Paul. Thank you. Nice copy on you. Big signal as always. Anyway, it's good to be in here tonight. I was trying to decide if I should just jump on the remote in the other room there up at the house, or come down here. And I thought, nah, I'll get on my little scooter and ride down here, and that'll be more fun using the TS520 and the 30L1, and see what everybody's signal sounds like down here tonight. So far, so good. Well, I guess, Bob, you're kind of directing traffic here tonight. Thank you very much. Kind of an informal man, I guess, from what I read from John. Anyway, I heard, let's see, Larry, I heard you a little earlier when I was up there at the house and decided to shut things down and come down here. So Larry's my good friend up there in Crest, and he was on our 5 o'clock net earlier. I guess we decided to stay on 9.3. It threw me off for a little bit there. I heard all this noise coming from 9.3 when I was sitting on 9.5. So and then I tuned up, and it was Larry speaking, and then I heard Bob. Big signal, Bob. So let me give it back to you. I don't have too much to offer. We're just trying to get caught up at the end of the year here with a lot of the stuff that I need to do when the year comes to an end. Getting receipts out to people for their taxes and what have you. And so we're starting to work on that. And been working on some other projects around here. So AK6R, take it away. So I guess both Chris and Frank have places over there now in Lake Havasu. Isn't that interesting? And anyway, over to you there, Bob. W6YEC.
N6BZY.
Okay, Paul, we got you. N6BZY. Anybody else?
KW1NG.
KW1 Nancy Golf. Anybody else? Okay, gentlemen. Well, we'll just go to both of you, and then back to me, and we'll go down the list once more. There is no formal net tonight. I just decided to get on here, and there was a whole bunch of Texas stations on 3895, and I could hear them really well. So I moved down to 93, kind of the backup frequency here. So that's, if you're wondering why we're here, that's why. And signals are very good tonight. George, you were 40 over, strongest signal tonight. So, but even Kevin up in Gilroy was 30 over. So, good signals are ahead by all. Anyway, over to you, Paul. N6BZY, and then turn it over to KW1NG. And for the life of me, I can't remember your name, but then send it back to me, and then we'll go down the list again. And the informal question tonight is, what was your biggest accomplishment in ham radio in 2023? If you want to tell us about it, that's fine. If you want to skip it, that's okay too. 100% voluntary tonight. It's over to you, Paul. N6BZY, AK6R.
Okay, AK6R and the group. N6BZY. Well, I'm not putting out full power, but 100 watts ought to do it. Anyway, I need to replace the finals in this old TR4. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But yeah, we're on the air anyway. Yeah, accomplishments for 2023. Can't think of anything too remarkable. Maybe buying a Yaesu FT710. I've been playing around with here lately, so I'll just let that be it for now. Anyway, I just thought I'd come up and say howdy do, running a TR4 known inverted V at 35 feet. That's all we're doing here. So I'll send it over to Ken. KW1NG and 6BZY.
Okay, good evening, George, Bob, Paul, everybody. Hi. Yeah, I just thought I'd jump on here. I'm still on the compromised 85-foot long wire, which is laying on a fence right now. That last windstorm took it down, so tomorrow I've got a pole now. I can put it back up. I'll be working on that tomorrow. So we'll see if the fence survives having the linear on tonight. So yeah, I noticed we were down a couple. So heard some big signals that were off frequency on 95 when I first came in, but I had the rig turned on for a couple hours to warm up the S line, 75S3C, 32S3, and the 3001, and hopefully there's no flames dancing on the fence at the moment. So very good. Accomplishment. I actually got more involved, I think, in net, and I'm enjoying that tremendously. And George's 5 o'clock net, and the Vintage net here on Tuesdays, and the Collins net. And I hosted a Collins net, so I guess that's my biggest thing for the year, is just getting more involved and having some more fun. I'm really enjoying getting together with the folks on these gatherings. So that's about it for me. I'll turn it back to, I guess, Bob, you're hosting. So AK6R, KW1NG, and the Vintage net.
November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Kilo.
N6WHK. Okay, got you. Anybody else?
WA6JUS.
WA6JUS is in Sam. Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's get you guys in the rotation here. And there is no formal net. We're just kind of sitting there and talking around. And the informal question is, what's your biggest accomplishment in ham radio in 2023? And we've all had our 2 cents on that. In fact, I was going to mention, very good, Kevin, on all your amplifier stuff. I thought that was extremely interesting. Besides antennas, which is kind of my number one thing that I like to play with, amplifiers are number 2, and I think I have about 10 of them here. And right now we're on the ACOM 1000, which I got out of an estate sale, and I figured, oh, well, I'd just play with it and see how it works. But one of the things I liked about it, it still puts out about 800 or 900 watts, and it runs off 110. And it's got, I think, a 4CX 800 in it or something like that, a small tube, but a single one. But, boy, that thing really works well. In fact, when somebody came up and said, hey, I got another ACOM 1000 here, and there's no tube in it, would you like it for a couple $100? And I said, heck, yeah. Darn things are still selling for $2,000 or $3,000. So now I got 2 of them here, so I don't know what to do. But anyway, I'm still playing with them. But my major amp is the Flex PGXL, because it's got 2 amps in one. You can run 2 channels on it just simultaneously, and with all the other Flex stuff I got, it works well for me. But I sure enjoy this ACOM 1000. It's a nice little small compact amp and puts out enough power. We're running about 500 watts right now, by the way. Okay, over to you, N6WHK, and then turn it over to WA6JUS, back to me, and then we'll go through we'll run through the list one more time at least, and there's about 12 people on it now. So, N6WHK, AK6R.
AK6R, N6WHK, fine business there, Bob. I'm running my Swan 350 Delta, which is the one I normally run for this net when we're on the other frequency. Through an Ameritron 811 amplifier, running about 400 watts, 400 to 500 watts, somewhere in that ballpark. And accomplishments for the year. Well, like my friend KW1NG said, getting up more onto the nets, getting more onto the roundtables, which I enjoy immensely. And so that's about it, really. Running a inverted V at about 45 feet, coaxial type antenna. I got from YEC, and the design from him, and I find it very, very useful and very workable antenna. Seems to do a pretty good job for me. So with that, WA6JKN, JKN, N6WHK, I believe that's who I turned to, N6WHK.
Going to JUS.
Okay, I stand corrected. JUS.
Okay, thanks. And here is WA6JUS. Let's see, and this is the Galaxy 300. And a big part of any accomplishment this year has to go into the, with help, getting this thing back functioning, because there was a lot wrong with it. But what's really more in my mind is the pedestal of the Tri-X, or the antenna, the HA40, the crank-up telescoping two-section that's given to me by George, where you see him dismantling the W6ZUM station. It came from there. So the $2,900 later, I have a pedestal out there that in another week is ripe to receive the instruction. That has to be it for the year. Okay, AK6R, WA6JUS.
Hey, John, very good. Nice signal down here. Both you and Phil have a good signal. And, well, thanks. I've got 5 towers laying in the field here and haven't put one of them up yet. So I congratulate you on doing that. I think that's wonderful. And I've got 2 of them earmarked for a tower trailers, because that's the way I like to do things. That way I can take them and do field day and those types of things. And in fact, I run a big tower trailer now of about 60 feet, and we put a big red, white, not red, white, and blue, but Christmas tree lights on it. And all the neighbors are beeping their horn when they go by it. So I guess it's pretty popular. But it's the first time we've done that, and looks pretty cool. So thanks for the ideas on the towers too. And a Galaxy 300, boy, that's a challenging radio. I've worked on those things before, and I've given up on them. So there's too much for me. It's almost as bad as the Black Beauty capacitors I was hearing about on the HRO 500 a little bit earlier, and from DJ. Anyway, let's go through at least one more time here. We're going to turn it over to K6ZTA, Vaughn, then turn it over to DJ, K6RCL, over to, and then to Kevin, WA6JKN, and then over to Paul, K2LMQ, and then over to Bob, WA9JIB, and then back to me. K6ZTA to take it. Vaughn, go ahead.
KK6IRZ.
IRZ, I got you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, AK6R and the multitude K6ZTA out here in Woodland Hills. Yeah, that's let's see. Oh, yeah, that's where I'm located, is in Woodland Hills, and out here in the West San Fernando Valley. Yeah, well, we're just glad that we've got radios working here. Nothing has been, we haven't had any failures, knock on wood. We did get another card. Like I said, I got another card for my DX log here, and I was estimating my count. It's only 327. My count is only 327 confirmed, and so I'm still, they're getting really hard to find. And I guess that would be my accomplishment for the year, was to work that to get that 327th card. Anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to DJ and K6RCL, K6ZTA.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. K6ZTA, K6RCL. DJ Galetta. Well, projects, I got plenty of projects. I'm working on this HRO 500. I'll tell you, it's amazing radio. There's no phase noise. I mean, it's just really quiet. uses all germanium transistors except, and they're all plug-in, except for 2. Take it back, 3. It operates off of 120 volts or off of 13.8, 12-volt battery, whatever you want to use there. So it's quite versatile. It uses a nice elaborate filtering. It uses the pot cores and high-quality capacitors. All the other capacitors other than those stupid things I had to replace are all silver micas. And it goes from 100 kcs to 30 megahertz, and it uses the HRO dial. So, I mean, logging scale-wise, you got essentially 12 feet of dial. And it's mechanically, it's using a conventional CTO oscillator, but they really beefed this thing up, and I think they're using surplus capacitors that they had in the World War II, because it sure looks like it for the PTO, or CTO I should say, but it's using the conventional HRO dial, but it's, my resolution is about, well, 1 kc spacing is maybe around 3/8 of an inch or a little better. So resolution-wise, I can get within a couple of hundred hertz. It's an amazing receiver though, but it's very complex phase lock loop. You got to up-convert on the lower bands, 100 kc to 1.5 to the first one is a 26 megahertz up-convert from 100 kcs to 500 kcs. So it uses the dial direct. And then the next one is 500 kcs to 1.5. That's another 26 megahertz up-convert. So it's triple conversion there. The rest is double conversion. It's a very interesting receiver. And, but it's very complicated, at least for me. Maybe for other people it isn't. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I want to wish everybody a blessed and joyful New Year. And thank you, Bob, for taking it. And I'm trying to think of who it goes to. I think it goes to Paul, but I'm not actually sure. So, Paul, if you don't take it, Bob, you'll have to help me out here. K6RCO.
Over to Kevin, then to Paul. WA7JKN, you still around? Okay, is Paul still around? K2LMQ.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, go ahead and take it, and then turn it over to Bob, JIB, and then back to me.
Sounds good. Okay, Bob. K6R in the group. K2LMQ. Fine. Well, copy's beautiful tonight and very interesting.
It's nice to hear everybody's accomplishments and what's going on and what have you. And again, the signals are very, very good. I will pass along also my 73s. I will be listening out. But I want to thank Bob for taking the air and making a nice go of it. It's a great evening tonight. And wish everybody a blessed New Year and a wonderful holiday week, and everybody be safe and be healthy. And that's it. So, Robert, how are things up in La Cañada? So 73's all. WA9JIB in the group K2LMQ.
Okay, Paul, K2LMQ,
sunshine up here. Beautiful weather, you know, cool, a few clouds, or some blue sky, very nice, great time of year. Let's see, I did think of a signature accomplishment, and this was jogged to my memory by 3 people who checked in after me. So I'll tell you about it. Oddly enough, it was not an accomplishment I sought. I was hoping to have or wanted to have, but there it was. So, and it was definitely ham radio related. And I'm referring to the night in April, I think it was, when our dear friend George, YEC, had his adventure in healthcare. It was during an AMI net. And let's see, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but the net instantly turned into an emergency traffic communications activity. And in my 60 years in amateur radio, this was the first time I ever got to actually support emergency communications. And I don't want to overstate my role. My role was minimal here from La Cañada. There are 2 heroes, and they're also on the net tonight, and that would be Paul, N6BZY, and N6WHK, who are down there and came to the rescue. And George himself had the presence of mind with a mic in the locked-on position to let us know what was going on. But everyone on the net that night instantly converted from, you know, unusual kind of chatter to handling emergency traffic. And that ultimately is what amateur radio is for. And so, you know, an unfortunate event, but we were able to use our hobby to help our dear friend. And so, yeah, and again, I do not want to overstate my role. There were real heroes there, and I wasn't one of them. But I got to participate in an emergency communications, not a regional emergency, albeit a personal emergency, but an emergency nonetheless. And I know George had a long recovery, but here he is with us tonight and back, and so it all worked out good, and ham radio played a part in it, and that's something to really celebrate for 2023. With that, back to net, AK6R, WA9JIB.
WA9JIB, AK6R. Well, thank you for sharing that, Bob. I missed that net, but I got to reenact it with your comments there. So that was really great. And it's amazing when you run a net or you participate in a net, you become a community, and we've really become a community here over the last number of years that this net's been on here. And I look forward to to talking to everybody, if nothing else, and helping other people and advance their amateur radio experience. And it certainly that certainly was a good example of it. Okay, let's do the next 4 or 5 here. I got to take off around 7:30, so I'm going to run through this, and then you guys are, of course, welcome to stick around. Let's turn it over to Larry, KN6IYC, and then Larry, turn it over to Skip, K6LGL, Skip over to George, WA6YEC, and then over to N6BZY, and then back to me, and then we'll take the last 5. Go ahead and take it, Larry. KN6IYC with a great signal tonight, AK6R.
All right, AK6R, Bob, KN6IYC. Oh, man, everybody's got great signals tonight. A lot of people are 20 over.
Yeah, you know, Bob, that was quite a night, and we're so thankful and blessed now that George has been on the road to recovery, and I was on that night and trying to figure out who was on there, and we figured out George. Anyway, yeah, that was a legendary night for ham radio, and a legendary night for AM, that's for sure. And it was really good to that all worked out. A lot of things happened after that too. Get George hooked up to where he can communicate with us again. There you go. Anyway, wow. I already said that. Yeah, my accomplishment for 2023 was to get a
a formidable vintage AM station going, and also a vintage sideband unit going here with the FT101. But you know, Paul, you were talking about the smoke coming out of yours. I guess, yeah, I have to be careful with this. Earlier today, I ran it. I've been using it on 40 AM, and I've been cautioned to not to get in the habit of doing that too much with this unit here. So anyway, the FT101 is just humming away, and so far no smoke. I'm pretty happy about that. Still got some output problems I'm trying to work through on it, trying to get full output out of it, but we're working on it. Well, I guess that's it from here for me. 73, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and listen on around, and thanks for putting up with my nonsense. I believe I sent it to Skip. If that's wrong, then I'll need to be corrected. So here it comes. Skip, K6LGL. Take it away from KN6IYC.
Okay, thank you very much, Larry. Let me put this back on frequency a little bit. Hang on. I'm a little bit off there. K6LGL, skipping Santa Monica, returning. Okay. I didn't accomplish a great deal this year in the way of amateur aid. The only thing I can say, I maintained or try to maintain all the equipment that I have and keep it going. And even making some progress with my Globe King 400, 500 series there. But, you know, I was kind of bothered by problems in the back and all this other, so, you know, that left the heavy lifting, that. But did quite a bit of reading and studying and reviewed an awful lot of issues of electric radio, so, you know, kind of renewed an old interest. I guess that is probably the biggest accomplishment. It looks probably to a good 100, maybe 110 issues of ER. I reread a number of articles and reviewed them. Okay, I want to wish everybody a very happy New Year. Thank you for being there. We have, I think, one more meeting for the AM group tomorrow, and we'll see what happens, and then we'll slowly end the year and start a new one, hopefully a better one. So, I think the one that I have to turn over to George, and I think one of your accomplishments, my friend, is not necessarily amateur radio related, but you are slowly recovering your health after a major mishap there. So good luck, and keep on trucking, my friend. W6YEC, and thanks for you, Bob, there for keeping the net going, and everybody else too. K6, roll green light, Skip in Santa Monica.
Okay, Skip, thank you, W6YEC. Yeah, I was sitting here when I heard Bob explain the topic, which I didn't know when I first transmitted. I got thinking to myself, the accomplishment of 2023 has been the process of restoration. And then I got thinking about that evening, thank you, Bob, what you mentioned about that. And what happened was I ended up on the floor, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't get to my cell phone. I couldn't get to my 220 machines to try to get a hold of Paul and Phil. And but I had a toggle switch. So there is a vintage aspect besides me. There's a vintage aspect that relates to that story. And that is, I've always enjoyed using a toggle switch to switch between transmit and receive. And so I have a toggle switch that's mounted right under the desk. And I was able to reach up and flip that toggle switch on and then, you know, holler out for some help. And so that's how things really started rolling. And I tell you, thank the Lord for that toggle switch, because I don't know how he could have gotten the message to anybody besides that. So there was a vintage element involved of the toggle switch. And, yeah, we're coming along. We've got a ways to go, but we're walking with a single-point cane, and I'm thankful for that. I've got a little scooter where I can get on it and ride down into the ham shack. And Thursday I have a doctor's appointment, and I'm going to take him DMV papers
and hopefully get him to sign it and see if I can get the suspension off my driver's license. I have driven the vehicle in the back area here of the property, and I don't think driving will be a problem for me if I can get that suspension lifted. So we'll see how that goes. And I do appreciate everybody's prayers and kindness towards us in this time. It's something I never thought about happening, actually. When it happens, it's just kind of a wake-up call because it only takes a moment. We're about one heartbeat away from eternity, so it doesn't take much. Anyway, it's been really a growing time in a lot of ways, and I'm grateful to be with you guys. Really am. And I'm grateful to be anywhere, to be honest with you. All right. With that, let's see. I give it back to you. I turn it over to my friend Paul, N6BZY. Take it away, Paul. It's your turn.
Okay. W6YEC in the group and 6BZY.
Yeah, that was an interesting evening, and between Phil and me, we got paramedics over to you. That was a great deal. Got you what you needed there, and you're on the mend. So yeah, that was probably the best accomplishment of 2023, that's for sure. And I don't have a great deal else. Everybody's got wonderful signals in here. Just banging in, so we must have a pretty good band, I guess. But I am going to have to put some work in this poor TR4. It definitely needs I have the new finals sitting here. I just haven't put them in yet. So I got to get that. It's on the to-do list. You know how that goes. Okay, everybody have a good evening. I'm going to call it a night. I've got company coming in here in about 2 hours from Sacramento, the daughter and her family. So everybody have a good evening. And let's see, I'm going to remember who I turned it to. Was it Ken, KW1NG? Was that correct? And 6BZY. That goes to Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and thanks everybody for their comments. And we're all thankful that George is still here with us, and for a long time to come. Anyway, now it goes over to Ken, KW1NG, and then turn it over to Phil, N6WHK, and then over to John, WA6JUS, and then finally to KK6IRZ, and then back to me, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead and take it, Ken. KW1NG, AK6R.
Yeah, good, Bob. Thank you. KW1NG, Alpine, 30 miles east San Diego, and running the S-line with my bullet powering a wire that is laying on a fence at the moment. So it goes back up tomorrow, hopefully. A couple things. Yes, the heroes, N6BZY, N6WHK, Paul and Phil, thank you for being there for George. But the real hero is George. He's fought since it happened, fought back, and done the hard work to recover, and good for him. George, you're a hero for doing that and getting back with life. That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear you're doing so much better. So hopefully you'll get that driver's ticket back tomorrow. That'd be great. And JKN, Kevin, congratulations on being brave enough to test your amplifier that way. That's a lot to do. I design high-power battery chargers for EVs for a living, and the last set was a 75-kilowatt unit that we did the exact same test on. We threw a great big knife switch on it when it was running, shorted it out, and did an open as well, and it survived the open. It didn't exactly survive the short circuit test, but it failed safe, which is what the criteria was for the test. It didn't have to keep working after that. It just didn't want to explode or start a fire. So there's a whole lot of energy flowing at that point. That's quite a test. So one of the units that we tested did survive. The other one was not quite so successful, but it was an exciting test, I'll tell you. All right, that's all I've got for this evening. Everybody have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the holidays between here and New Year's, and I'll turn it on to Phil, Hero Phil, N6WHK. Take it away. KW1NG 73.
KW1NG and 6WHK. Well, this is done what was natural and what had to be done. That's simple as that. And between Paul and I, we got the job done. The hard work is George. And every time I go over to pick him up, take him somewhere, I can see an improvement. From a cane with 4 or 5 feet on it, just to stabilize, wheelchair, walker, and now down to a single point. He's doing a lot better. He's still having problems getting in my truck, but I know that for a fact. Sometimes I even have problems getting in there, and it's a little higher than a car, so it makes a difference. But he keeps progressing along, and that's a good thing. That's what we like to see. Forward movement, forward advancement. Anyway, but I don't have a heck of a lot this time around. I enjoyed the net. I had company over for a little bit, so I was a little late getting in. And the young man and young lady left, so I was able to run in here and jump on for a couple minutes. And thank you, Bob, for running it. He's doing a beautiful job. With that, WA6JUS. Now I know who was on that following me. It's all yours, my friend. November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Kilo. See you up in Frosty Freeze.
Okay. Thank you much. I don't think I have too much more to add. Started here in Grand Mesa. Went back down to Winter State today and make sure I'm in good shape for playing. Going to play the last day of the year. At Winter State, they have a contest, believe it or not. And so I get to play there. For the gentleman who lives out in Alpine, there's the Legion Hall there out on Alpine Boulevard to the east, about 3/4 of a mile shy of Willows Road. To go out there. It's a little bit unstable right now as far as what's going on back there, but I think it will resolve. Anyhow, Bob, thanks for running the net, and back to you. AK6R, WA6KUS.
Yeah, it goes over to KK6IRZ. Go ahead and take it, Jeff. Anybody hear him?
KK6IRZ, WA6KUS.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you'd hear him if he was there.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't hear him either. So anyway, we'll wrap it up tonight. Appreciate everybody checking in informally. And thanks for all the great stories. I think that's part of the camaraderie that we all share here, is just telling stories, and your quote-unquote accomplishments are actually part of just being here. So I'm glad to hear it all. No, there's no Golden Cup Award tonight because we all get one for sharing our stories. Anyway, 73s to everybody. Have a great, happy New Year. We'll catch you on the go around in January. I think I'm supposed to run the net on January 9th, so I'm for sure going to catch you back then. Until then, have a good one, have a happy New Year, and we'll wish the best to everybody. AK6R will be clear.